Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Laura. I'm from the practice, and I am here to bring you another episode of The Practice Connects. The Practice Connects is a video series where we take what we practice in practice and apply it to real world situations and vice versa. There's so much information, there's so much noise to cut through, and to have this additional link to not only intellectualize, but to really embody our practice as humans. That's the intention. But today I wanted to talk to you about something that is real. It's felt going on. It's coming up in so many conversations with students, with friends, with family members. And it's that the world feels so heavy, hard. It feels like a boulder that just won't budge. There's so much out there. There's so much tragedy, catastrophe, um, disbelief. Um, insert any adjective here that feels how you're feeling. And it's real, it's felt. There is a famous quote you may have heard. It's that life is suffering. Um, but is that what we want to do? And so this episode isn't about toxic positivity and only fueling ourselves with optimism, because that's not necessarily truthful, but more so how to continue when the world feels so hard and heavy. And the question that was posed this past week was, how do we live, right? How do we thrive in and amongst all of the stress, in and amongst all of the survival, in and amongst all of the chaos? And my belief is that we should be living intentionally, right? We do no one of service if we just put blinders on and carry forward. I personally believe that the more information we have, the better. It helps us to inform decisions, reactions, um, plans, etc. But sometimes things feel so hard that we don't know what to do. And so there are so many different avenues in which to take this. And I like to think of us as the culmination of many little different things, ingredients, if you will. And so I'll offer some tools, some ideas from a somatic perspective, from a psychological perspective, from a yoga perspective. You might like something, you might not like something. It doesn't mean I'm 100% right, but I thought I would offer some tools that I personally use when things just feel like it's too much. Um, so, what do you do? What do you do when things feel hard? The first thing that I do is take stock. And that is as simple as a body scan, or as complex as meditation for as long as you can. But what we're doing is moving our awareness from our external state into our internal state. And that gives us a little bit more clarity on what is true for us in this exact moment. Am I carrying things from previous days, previous moments, previous conversations that don't necessarily serve me here? And if so, how can I let it go? How can I process it so that it doesn't need to then color my decisions for the next etc. of time? But really, a body scan is just heightening our self awareness. So, going inward, noticing sensations, noticing temperature, color, texture, just all the little different things that are going on within your body, because that helps us understand ourselves a little bit better. If you notice that you're feeling tension all the time, that's information for us that we need to find some sort of movement to help release it, right? Again, it's not to not take in the information that is coinciding with our intention, but it's to understand ourselves a little bit better so that we can continue forward in the way that we want to and need to. How do we live instead of exist? And so, from that body scan, from checking in, from taking stock of what's here, there might be some little glimmers of, okay, this might have been true yesterday, but now that I've moved through time, it's a little bit less. And what we're actually doing is finding space in our capacity, letting go of things that no longer serve us in this moment in time, just start to open up space so that we can continue forward with what's needed. Take stock, notice what's here. And there are many things that you can do with those feelings, with those sensations. You can journal. Sometimes journaling, even stream of thought, will help to clarify your mind a little bit. You can move your body, my personal favorite. And this is where the nuance comes in a little bit because we have to understand that sometimes stillness is important and relaxation and rest is really important. And also sometimes moving higher intensity is important. And so that comes with practice, that comes with working with a practitioner, that comes with your own experience in being in embodied state. But those are really interesting questions to ask yourself. If you're in a state of survival and you can't move forward, take stock. Do I need movement or stillness? Have I nourished myself well? Have I provided myself the opportunity with what I can, um, so that I know that I can continue on well for an extended period of time? And then the other thing that I start to bring into my personal practice is the rumination part. It's really important to self reflect. Okay. It's really important to be self aware. But when there's a line that's passed where then it starts to become a hyper fixation on thoughts, again, that may or may not be true for you, that's a really interesting space because what we're doing by repeating those thoughts is we make them true for ourselves, whether or not they are actual truth. So noticing when, and this again, like the scrolling, the doom scrolling, the constantly bombarding yourself with one particular type of content, it's really important to have information, yes. And it's really important to expand where that content is coming from. So that could be nature, going for a walk, listening to the birds, listening to the trees, listening to the wind. It could be talking with a friend, right? Receiving their information, providing your insight, that bonding chemicals happen. And really starting to focus in on where can I find space so that I can continue, right? Again, it's not to say that things aren't hard. They are hard. It's challenging out there. I don't know if you've been out there, but it's it's a mess. And how can I find a little bit of space so I can start to find some light, right? And that's where practice comes in. I have to intentionally be mindful about the information that is coming in and going out. I'm watching my words. What am I saying? Is it true? Or is it a story that I've been telling? Right? Small little actions will start to remind your body that you can and that you are making a difference. Even if it's not felt right now, it ripples out. The example, I was having a conversation, and the example that came up was, it could be as simple as holding a door open for someone, right? That it's not expected, but when it happens, it means something. Thank you so much for holding this door open for me. And then it changes how you enter into the rest of your day. And so, how can we do that? Not just for ourselves, but for other people in community. And so, there's a lot of information here, and I could keep going, but I'm going to leave it right here. Self reflection, right? Take stock. Notice what little actions you can be doing. Ask yourself, is this true for me now? Or is this true for me in the past or in the future? Am I worried about something? Again, all really, really important information. There's a lot to be worried about. There's a lot to be thinking of. There's a lot that rests on our shoulders. How can we take it step by step, little bit by little bit, so we can